أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Living the Quran through the Living Quran. And today we want to look at verse number 5 of Surah Al-Fatiha. This is a verse in which we say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. That you alone, O God, do we worship. And you alone, God, that it is that we serve. This verse is obviously, as we've said in the past, every verse of the Quran is extremely important. But given the fact that we recite this particular chapter of the Quran a minimum of 10 times a day in our daily prayers, the verses should be definitely understood by us so that we understand and are comprehensive. We comprehend what we're saying to God and what we are obviously promising to God in a way. In this verse, there are a few points that come out that really stand out that are important for us to keep in mind. One of the first things that we see is when we make this statement that it is only God alone that we worship and it is only Him that we seek help from, is that as Muslims, as those who have submitted to God, we have to realize that our submission needs to be at a level of comprehension and full understanding. We can't simply be cultural Muslims that we were born into this tradition, let's say, and so we follow it. No, we need to be fully cognizant of the fact and accept Islam with our intellect, with an understanding at whatever level that is, that we are submitting to God and we are praying to God and we're asking from God deep down because of the fact that we truly understand Him, again at whatever level that is, and that we are truly seeking His assistance and support in every stage of our lives. Point number 2 is to realize that as human beings, we have been created to seek perfection. Human perfection, and whatever level that it is that humans can receive and attain that level of perfection as a human being. And because you and I are created with this innate desire of seeking perfection, we seek perfection from the one who has that level of perfection. And that is obviously God, our Creator. Obviously, at the highest level, it is God. We understand and accept the fact that the prophets, the messengers, the imams, the divinely appointed successors are at a level of human perfection as well. But when we look at this level and we look at what it means to travel to God and to receive or to attain that level of human perfection, and we try to ascend towards Him spiritually, we realize the fact that this level of perfection can only be attained through the act of worship, through the act of seeking support from God alone. And that is why we say in this verse that it is you alone, O God, whom we worship. We worship nothing else, no one else other than you. We don't give our attention or focus or energies behind anybody else or any other thing in creation, because it is only God who is the ultimate perfect being that we seek to please and to get closer to Him. And so our perfection is ultimately thus in pleasing Him and worshiping Him in the ways that He wants us to worship and adore Him. Point number 3 to keep in mind is that in this verse we are speaking not in the singular voice, but in the plural. We are saying that it is you alone whom we worship, God, and it is you alone whom we seek help from. It is as if when you and I are praying even as individuals and reciting this chapter, we are praying for the collective, for the Muslim community on a whole. So it is one person praying to God on behalf of billions, millions, over 1 billion Muslims. We're all praying to the one God. But when God responds to us, He may respond to you and I as an individual. But in keeping in mind that as a collective we are a Muslim body, it is again this beautiful understanding that there is only one God, but yet the Muslims are over 1 billion. And as an individual, I now add myself into that collective of 1 billion Muslims praying to that one God. And when He replies and when He responds, it is a response from one God to me as an individual, but also to a collective body of over 1 billion Muslims. The final point, and we'll conclude with this, is that as we said that this verse is unique because we now speak in the plural. We are saying to God that it is you alone that we worship, you alone that we ask for help. And so as we understand from the commentaries of this verse, is that as much as possible when we pray our prayers, the 5 daily prayers, that we should do our best to pray them in congregation within our community setting. The rewards, as we know, are multiplied for those who perform their prayers in congregation. And just as this verse shows us that we are praying to God as a collective, even though we may be praying at an individual level at home or at work or at school, but as much as possible as a community, wherever we are, whether we're a community of 1 family, 10 families, 100 or 1,000, or whatever number, is we should always make it a habit to attend the prayers in the center, in congregation, and to really fulfill the beauty of this verse when we pray for all of the Muslims around the world. As we conclude, we remind the viewers that if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, to please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you benefited from this video, please go and give it a thumbs up. And as usual, if you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comment field below, and we will do our best to respond to each and every one of the queries that you post to us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.